Welcome to the Change of Pace podcast, where we're following along the creation of Canada's first professional track and field league. With me throughout the series, we have the founder and creator, Quinn Lyness. He's literally created this by himself, so nobody knows it better than him.
Welcome to the Canadian Track and Field League's first ever entry draft.
We'll cover everything from how the CTFL got started, give you updates throughout the season, and keep you updated on how the CTFL plans to change the pace of track and field. I'm your host, Samar La Vaughn. Let's get into this podcast. All right, how's it going, Quinn?
Pretty good. How are you, Samar?
Doing well. A little sore and tired from training in the off season right now, but I'm still getting it in. I know we're 2 meets in now. How are you? How's the league going? What is it like managing the league now?
Coming back from London, it's a couple of days after now, and it's really amazing to kind of see it all come together. Like Montreal was a very small meet, and it was really only the one team, Bears, really showed up. But in London, it was just insane seeing all we had over 45 athletes, 60, 50 athletes kind of thing coming to the meet. And it was so much fun to do. Really stressful. I'm not gonna lie, it really stressful for me. But
what's the most stressful part? What's stressing you out? Talk about it.
Just because I'm so low budget now that I don't have enough people to kind of do the necessary tasks. So I'm recording all the meets. Sorry if you're watching it in advance because my hands aren't the steadiest. I have a tripod, but even then. Anyway.
No, it's coming out pretty good. Okay. We posted a couple of the reels. People are loving it. You literally have your own league. I don't think people know that it's you recording. So now that they know, what I'm saying, give yourself some photo credits, video credit. It's coming out pretty well.
Yeah. So that is, definitely stressful, but I'm handing out singlets and stuff because there's so many athletes there. It was just me trying to hand out singlets while also recording the meets and meeting all these new athletes. It was just so much fun to kind of see everybody and meet everybody in person for a lot of them the first time. So yeah, challenges, yes, but also the bigger the meet, it was just so much more fun to see everybody. I was walking down from the finish line, and it was the other opposite corner basically to where the kind of facilities are, the check-in area. Right. Okay. And just walking but down, I was talking with a couple of Olympians, and I was talking with all the different athletes, seeing the Arctics, just a couple of Arctics guys kind of talking, seeing a couple of Bears girls, they're just all over the place on the track. It was really fun to see because it was wow, we really took over this. It was a high level track meet. It was on the Continental Tour, kind of the class system. So it was up there, and I was really excited to kind of go and do it. But it was really fun to see everybody, all these different teams, and it's wow, I did this. This is amazing.
It really is amazing. Seeing the teams come alive, wearing the uniforms. So many videos, so many photos are now circulating on Instagram, on YouTube now. They're even competing against other athletes, so other athletes have photos against the Arctics. Yeah, I noticed that as well too. So it's stuff like that. It's a trickle system within track and field. But man, I know that has to be amazing. You created these teams, you created these jerseys, and now it's people are out there actually competing in them. You're connected with Olympians. Just runners all over Canada. That's actually pretty dope, man. Congratulations again on that. What would you say? What would you call your role? Are you GM of the league? Are you is this a founder role? I know you have to wear many hats, but
yeah, I guess it would be more of founder, because founder kind of they do everything. They have their hand in every single cookie jar that is in the organization. So I do everything from I'm literally here's another fun fact. I make the singlets myself, right? So New Balance gives me the singlets, but I'm actually heat pressing them. So to make the logos go on, because that's the best way for me to do it, and the cheapest, most affordable, and most efficient, right? So the night before, so I don't live in London obviously, but it's a 7-hour drive from my house, from my home. My home city is Ottawa, and basically I had to screen press like most of the jerseys. Like it takes me like 2 minutes, I guess, each. And the back logo, so as you probably see, like there's like the CTFL, kind of like the team logo, and then there's the CTFL on the back. Okay, well, fun fact, the CTFL logo, underneath it actually says CTEL, because the people that I bought the transfer paper from, which is like what goes on to like the singlets and makes like the actual like decal, they misspelt it. So they messed up and they spelled it CTEL. So I have to physically, I like have like fabric paint, and I paint every single like singlet basically to fix it up. Yeah. And so like the amount of like nitty gritty little things that like I'm doing and like nobody really knows about, like I want to kind of shoot a little video when I'm not in like my pajamas and doing it, kind of thing. Yeah. But so like I'm like screen printing them, and I do like little fine details trying to like make the CTEL, CTFL. So yeah, it's just like little things like that. Yeah, until like 2:00 in the morning.
See, dang, that's funny. I have a similar story. I started track athletics selling sportswear. I figured, create something to race in, something to train in. Yeah. And I ordered like postcards to pack into the orders. Yeah. And I swore I spelled it right, but my image was right.
Yeah.
When I got it back, when I got the cards, it was all misspelled. Things was distorted. And I'm like, dang, it's like 300 cards. So yeah. I had to cut like the misspelling off of 300 cards and like cut the corners, shape it. I'm like, dang, all that, just, same thing, simple mistake. Same thing with bags. I had misspelling on the bags. So I had to figure out what to do with the bags because it was their fault. They misspelled it. I'm like, yeah. Dang. So I understand how you feel. You got to take that loss, but, being creative and still turning into a W.
Yeah. Yeah. I was not happy when I figured that out when it was like CTEL. I was like, oh, I had to call them. I was like, what'd you guys do? And they're like, it's not our fault. I said, well, like it's in like the email, because my email is CTFL official. Like,
right.
And I gave you an actual logo. Like it's not like I wrote anything. It's just like I gave you a PNG of a logo.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll get off of that because
that was the same thing. I sent in the little track athletics logo, and I'm like, bro, what are you doing? But I mean, I know there's multiple struggles coming with building a league, running track meets or managing track meets, managing athletes, stuff like that. What would you say is the biggest struggle, especially now that we're, 2 meets in, we're in the league now,
Yeah, I think like the biggest struggle while at the meets, like the meets themselves, is probably just like the fact that I don't have enough hands on deck in order to actually like make it proper. Like I only have like, it's me and then somebody else I usually bring to record. Like I do like the track events all the time, and somebody else will do the field events, and maybe I'll try and grab somebody with like long jump, shot put are going on at the same time. I'll grab somebody to kind of record both. But yeah, like that's probably the biggest struggle for me, just to like have the help that I need in order to actually make it doable. In London, they kept on switching the finish line because so like I had all my bags of stuff, like camera work, and I had like the BioSteel stuff, and I had the singlets with me, and I can't carry it all. I just came off of like crutches because I had surgery a little bit, so I really can't carry all that much. So like, just going back and forth from one side to the other side, and then the athletes have to try and find me basically to get their singlets. That was that I was like trying to communicate with them over Instagram. Like if you were looking at the CTFL Instagram, I was saying like, oh, like over here now. I'm at this finish line now, not that one. So come see me over here. And so some people, like, I don't think really got their, like 1 or 2 people didn't get their singlets because they just couldn't find me for the entire day. I'm like I try. So that's the biggest struggle, I think, while at the track meets themselves.
That's funny because I think it's in the 1500 video, you can hear them say that they're changing the start line and finish line after the race. It's literally in the video. And I'm like, dang, I didn't connect the two. I'm, tapping through the story, and I did see that you were, communicating with the athletes so that they can pick up stuff from you. But I didn't connect that with the video, them switching and all that. That's a big hassle, especially when within the track meet, and they switch, and then you like, oh dang, I was warming up right here to be close to the starting line. Now it's way over there. Big hassle.
I'm
what would you
lucky.
say?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm lucky that the track meet wasn't extremely busy, because trying to find a good angle to record from would have been a struggle if like the track meet was extremely busy. And that's why like I'm a little worried for the championship later on this season, because like there's gonna be a lot of people in attendance. So
Right.
you know, I don't know how I'm gonna record. Like all of the two meets so far have been pretty empty, but yeah.
That's perfect. That's actually something I was gonna ask you about. You know, two-part question. What events do you feel like a lot of people at the track meets want to see? You know, especially as these track meets are, you know, kind of heating up. We're getting close to the championships. And then second part, what event do you really want to see? What's your favorite event?
Oh, this is a very hard question. Obviously, like the regular fan, like most people who are following the CTFL are hardcore fans, so they have specific you know, events that they want to watch. Whereas like the general kind of fan, everybody knows you want to watch the 100. So like, you know, it's a stigma in track. We're trying to solve it, but you know, that's gonna take a little bit. Yeah, and then me personally, I'm a 400-meter hurdler, so I love the 400-meter hurdles. Like I know for like the CTFL, if you want to watch any event, go and watch the 400-meter hurdles, because it is stacked. Like for Canada, like we have the best 400-meter hurdlers like always competing, and they show up too. Like unlike like some of the other events, they are all showing up. Like Joshua Adhamar in Montreal ran like 52, which like probably by like American standards isn't like the best, but like in Canada, that's fast. And then like in London, we had Roxroy Cato, Joshua Adhamar showed up again for it, Saj Al Haddad, Kevin Adeli. Anyway, we had like a bunch of guys in the CTFL competing, and they all went like, there was like 51 was like Roxroy Cato. He's an Olympian, so like it was just like, it was a lot of fun to watch. And then the other one that was really sick at London, watch this one specifically for London, is the 1500-meter for the men's. Whew, those boys, they changed the lead, I think like 2 or 3 times in like last 300 meters. So that was intense. Even recording, I think at the end, you guys might see me like not actually on them, because I'm trying to watch the race as well. Like I'm like, oh boy, like trying to get the video camera, like, oh my god, they're going for it. And like Alex finally comes out on top kind of thing. And I'm like, that was a good race. That was a really, really good race to watch. So yeah, those two are probably like so far my favorites. The 100-meter is also pretty sick, but yeah. And then one other thing I've kind of been learning is like for shot put, all the different throwers have like different mannerisms before they throw, and it's really fun to watch what each and every single one of them does, because like they each have their own little warm-up kind of thing. Like Eric Brathwaite, he like puts a lot of chalk on his neck, whereas like, you know, like Sarah Minton, I forget what she kind of does, but she kind of like, you know, gives a little like yell and then like throws it. And you know, it was really cool to kind of watch that. I wasn't watching it live, but I got to watch it, you know, on the recordings and stuff. But yeah, those are like the 4 that are really, really interesting.
That's funny. I've been working a lot of track meets lately. I've been raking the long jump pit, triple jump pit, and I noticed jumpers have their own little, you know, thing too. So I love to see the jumpers. Some of them do the back up, clap, they'll do a yell, they'll do, you know, something. And then even with the clap, it's never the same clap. I've seen people do a double clap, all types of stuff. So it's pretty funny that throwers have something too. I'm a sprinter. So I'm sure we do something that people are like, he always does this, you know, probably something before we get into the blocks. But yeah, that's pretty funny. But you was dropping a lot of names there, so now I have to ask, who's your favorite track and field athlete?
That's a hard one. I like Sage Watson is one of my favorite athletes. So she just she called it she like, you know, she's doing pretty well this season, and we'll kind of see how she progresses there. But and then I also really like, I've always liked Aaron Brown. I met him when I was a lot younger, and he was really, really nice to me. So that's why actually when I reached out to Aaron to kind of like say like, hey, this is like a track idea, like this is an idea that I have, he was really into it, and like that made me happy. So I think like Sage Watson and Aaron Brown are people that like now, because they both, Sage is a 2-time Olympian, Aaron Brown is a 3-time Olympian. So like I've grown up kind of now watching them. Like once I got into track when I was like 16. So it was right when Sage kind of started to hit the Olympics. So those probably are the two that I've always loved watching and always cheer for. And then one person that I didn't really know beforehand was Sarah Minton, and I really like her. She's really awesome. Like I'm super excited to watch the World Championships. Like I will be sitting through the throws and stuff watching her because like she's such an amazing person. So yeah, I think she's now like my like third top 3.
Yeah, she's dope. I've been watching a lot of her content too. Getting into the throws and stuff. But I've been a Aaron Brand fan too since he was at USC. Love his technique. He's a very humble guy. You can see his focus. You can tell. Oh yeah, he's locked in. He's about to have a great race. I love the content he posts. Really, really dope guy. I think he's a great figure within track and field. I love the legacy that he's creating. I'm a fan of him. I'm a fan of his as well. Actually had a chance to have him on the podcast, so great conversation, really dope guy. At first when he was at USC and I discovered him, I didn't realize he was Canadian. I'm like, that's crazy, all these athletes come over here, they get all super fast and they go home. But it's dope to see how track and field connects the world basically. And now here's an athlete that we both had a conversation with. We both had a connection with, so that's dope, But in all your years being involved in track and field, you said you started when you were 16. Now you're managing.
Yeah, I was like 15 years old when I started in track, but yeah.
About 15, 16. I know you've been to a lot of track meets. You've been to a lot of different tracks. Some pretty close races, some exciting track meets. What would you say has been your favorite track meet? Like what, track meet have you been to? Was it Invitational or relay race? Was it one of the track meets that, you've put on with the CTFL?
I mean, the London one was pretty special for me just because of the amount of work I've had to put into this. My ultimate one was probably OFSA. OFSA is really big here in Canada, like in Ontario. It's like the second largest, like basically like track meet in North America. And like it is like it engulfs like a whole weekend basically. Like anyway, it's really hard to get to. So you have to go through like 3 different rounds in order to get to the final round. So you have to be like top 8 in like your like East City. Then for me, because I have a larger city I live in, and then it's like your city, then it's East Regionals, which is I think they're split in like 6 different regions in Ontario, which is I think the largest province in Canada. And like there's thousands and thousands and like tens of thousands of kids that are participating in this, and you have to be top 4 from your region in order to make it to OFSA. So it's like I never made it. I got blood infection in grade 10, then in grade 12 I finally made it, and that was just surreal because I worked so hard for it. So that's my number 1 meet I think I've gone to, just because of like the amount of effort that's kind of brought it into it. And like looking back onto it, like it's funny because now I have 4 meets in the CTFL and you have to go through 4 meets in order to actually get it to OFSA kind of thing. So maybe there's a foresight and stuff in there. Right. But I think maybe like that would be something very cool for like, the CTFL, because like next year what I plan to do is have like 12 athletes or maybe 16 athletes per event, but only there's a top 8 make it. So like to the championship. So that's what I'm kind of debating on, like that kind of format next year. But we'll see how it kind of works out. But I think also my number 1. Like nationals is cool and stuff, but like there's not really much like lead up to it. It's kind of just you go, you compete, you're done. It's like a one-off. I think it means a lot more when like you have to put in like effort, you have to be consistent, you have to be good, you have to be like, like one misstep at like, the 3rd kind of meet on that route and you're done, right? Like
you're done. Yeah.
So like it was quite special to get there because there's so many things that go wrong. Like in grade 10, I got blood infection on that 3rd meet. I wasn't able to compete. Like I was seeded to make it to OFSA, but I couldn't go just because that like I had a blood infection. You're done. So if you like tweak your hammy like and you're out for a week, your season's done. Like you can't go. So
and sounds like that meet is very serious. I know there's a couple meets like that out here Dang. Okay. Is offset is it at a big stadium, or would you say it's just
It
not just
floats around.
like
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, it like floats around because like in my year it was at the I think it was Pan Am they hosted there. So it was a big stadium. It was at one of the universities, and that had it was a okay, big stadium, Canada big stadium, as in like it's like one side and it's decently sized. Whereas like in the United States, we talk about like stadiums, and I think that would be like a the equivalent of what would be like an elementary school stadium. Like I've been down to the States and like you have elementary school stadiums that are larger than like our university stadiums. So like it's big for us.
It depends on what state you're in. I mean,
Yeah.
there are some high school stadiums and I'm like, this is crazy. I am fortunate to train at an amazing stadium, and it's a junior college. So it's like, dang,
Yeah.
if this is the junior college, like, what's the best school in California? What is
Yeah.
their what does their facility look like? So
Yeah.
I do understand that. But that's why I asked, like, would you say it's the stadium, or was it the excitement of the lead up to it? Because I know, like, for when I was in high school, we had a track meet called like Arcadia or Mount Sac, and this is a track meet where athletes from all over are invited. Basically, you have to hit a standard, then you're invited to the track meet. So it's athletes from Florida coming, from Texas, from different cities that you've never ran against, and now all of a sudden they're in your race, and it's like, oh snap, I've been hearing about them, they've been hearing about me, especially now within the social media era. We kind of follow each other, so you get to meet up with different people you've never been able to race before. So that's why I was asking, is it the lead up to it of different people coming? Is it the excitement of like, we finally get to see these two athletes compete? Or is it the stadium, like, we get to compete at this, $1 million stadium?
Yeah, I think like for the CTFL, it's gonna be the fact that like you're racing against somebody like normally when you're racing, it's you against the clock to meet like a standard, right? Like unless you're at a national, and that's the way track works. But with this, you're racing like it not even like in like U Sport, which is our like Canadian version of like the NCAA. You have to race to meet a standard, and then once you get to that standard, you go compete at like provincials and then nationals, and that's all that kind of matters. So like you're racing to meet that standard for the majority of your season. Whereas this, every single race matters, right? Like
right.
As I mentioned, like Alec Purnell and Rohan Novotny were competing in the men's 1500 meter, and like they were going back and forth. And like those are points, right? They're fighting for points, and it's like that one meet because they only went to the one prelim basically, so they're only planning on going to the one prelim. So whoever takes like that has a huge advantage going to the championship. So like it adds that like so much more to that one race. So I think that was what was like very interesting to see, like a bunch of them competing at the same time, and like for the long jumpers, I forget who it was, but there was this guy that like did really really well. Like it far exceeded what his like season's best was thus far, and is kind of and like beat all the other guys. Like I think he's like fifth in the rankings going into it, and now he's like second or something like that because no one can now like you can't remove that time and like that jump, and like the other guys can't unless they go to another prelim like the Ottawa prelim, which is the last one. They can't actually like get rid of if they had a shitty jump that day. It's right. Stuck there. Like no matter like their other two, yeah, it's unfortunate for them.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah.
I know you were saying that you're coming off of surgery. Have you been able to get back to training?
Oh no. No. I'm stuck like this basically until the end of the championships, which works out great for me because I don't really have time to train right now because I'm working all the time on this. But yeah.
Right. That's what I was gonna ask. Are you in recovery, doing something to make sure that you get your mobility and your strength back?
Yeah.
And how are you splitting your time between doing that as an athlete and then running the league? That's what I was gonna ask. But
I don't like it's very minimal the amount of stuff I have to do. Like I go on like the bike and stuff every so often now, like the stationary bike, and then I do my stretches. I go to physiotherapy and that kind of stuff. But like I also work a full-time job aside from the CTFL, so like there's a whole bunch of stuff that I have to do. I'm writing like my master's like thesis, like the project basically. So I got I got a whole bunch of stuff that's still kind of going on. But the CTFL takes up like all my free time. If I have any free time, it's going directly to the CTFL. So don't worry. Like if anybody says like I want something, it's good that you give me suggestions, but honestly at this point I just don't have time because I'm like just trying to keep like the core together kind of thing. So yeah, like we're going to be releasing a couple other things here and there, but what we have for this season is what we have for this season. And yeah, it'll be kind of interesting to see, but CTFL is basically like all my free time. I probably spend at least like 8 hours a day kind of doing it. I don't sleep too much, but yeah.
Whoa, well, make sure you are getting enough sleep. You know, we want you to be able to run the league long term. You know,
Yeah.
we're thinking long term. It's something that's going to change the pace of track and field. So at least make sure you're getting enough sleep, you know, so your body's not breaking down, so your mind stays sharp. You know, you're the only person that thinks like this. Obviously, you got this going. So it's, you know, I'm gonna make sure I check in with you, make sure you're getting enough sleep.
Probably smart.
You're taking some time to yourself. You know, I know this is a big project and everything, but with this being so early in the CTFL, you know, it literally just kicked off. This is the first season, just had the second meet. We're in the era of wanting to getting things early, you know, trying to get in crypto early, stocks early, you know, get on these different platforms early. People like to say, oh, I was on Twitter first. I was on Facebook first. I was on Instagram first. There's always, you know, some pros to being on the platforms or being in something first. What do you think the benefit of being in the CTFL first is? Like this first inaugural season, you know, what is that doing for the athletes? What is that doing for, you know, is it going to help them build their brands as well?
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, one, the barriers to entry were pretty low this year. Like as people commented, like the standards weren't extremely difficult to achieve. Next year, the plan is that like if you competed in this season, you basically have a spot for next season. We're going to put up standards that are going to be slightly lower than the ones that are like you should be able to hit it basically. But like, you know, we'll put up the same standards. If you didn't meet the standards, then we can remove you from the CTFL kind of thing, unfortunately. But I'd say like 95% of the CTFL athletes who want to return will be able to return next season. And then it's going to make it more difficult for those who like didn't join this year, basically, to be a part of it, which like, you know, it's unfortunate for the competition, but like this is the benefit of like joining in early. You have like almost a guaranteed spot. Like there's no need, we're not going to like, if you were in the CTFL this year, it's not like you need to be drafted again this year. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to hear like your Olympic ambassador call your name, but like, you know, you're gonna be able to like at least stay in the CTFL and be a part of it. And then we're hopefully going to be growing the prize fund and stuff, and we're going to be able to do all these kind of things. Like we're doing for every 1,000 followers, we're going to increase the prize fund by at least $250. So like just even following helps a lot. But like yeah, like that, those are the benefits. And then for fans, like we're definitely going to be, we have pretty low prices in terms of like our actual merchandise. So like if you want to buy stuff, now is the time, as opposed to like a year from now where we might increase the price. Like I don't make any money off of merchandise. I keep my profit margin to like close to nothing. So it's between like -5% and like 10%.
Yeah.
So like now's a good time. And like we're also doing trading cards, which will be very interesting. Imagine having a first edition trading card from like the NHL, like one of the first, you know what I mean? Like if you have like, we're gonna do like little packs. There's not gonna be many of them, but like you get like an Alex Telford or something like that. We're gonna have them sign them as well. So like you're gonna have like a first edition Alex Telford, like one of 8 rookie cards kind of thing. And like that's it. You know what I mean? That would be so sick. Could you imagine that? And like if the CTFL does well, as a fan.
I can't imagine that because my grandpa used to collect cards. And then I have a close friend that I actually ran track with. His uncle collects cards. So he has his whole memorabilia room with an OJ Simpson card, you know.
Oh, yeah, you're telling me about that,
yeah, stuff like that. And so I understand how important it is for, you know, football fans, basketball fans, stuff like that. So now that's another thing that's been missing within the track and field world. I would definitely love a Usain Bolt card or Maurice Green or Michael Johnson, Allison Felix card. You know what I'm saying? So being able to create that for track and field, that's huge. That's major. You're really doing something special, you know. I would definitely like frame the card. I probably wouldn't sell it. I would, definitely want to collect a couple of my,
Just
favorite athletes
yeah.
and say, oh yeah, this the relay that I would put together type of thing.
Yeah, no, I think like that'll be really cool because I'm gonna be hoarding them. Like if anything doesn't sell, I am so keeping it because like I know that if I can make it blow up, I could sell these cards for like a couple $100, you know what I mean? Like a piece.
Yeah.
You buy them for like who knows, like I don't have the price point yet, but if it's like $10 and you get like 8 cards or something like that, or you know what I mean, and you get like your cards and you get to trade them, or you get to like keep them, and we're going to be hiding a couple of like the signatures in them, right? Like we're going to have the athlete sign them, so you're going to have like one of one, and
Yeah.
then like, that's it. You know what I mean? That would be sick.
Nah, that is sick. That's exactly what they were doing. Like we were saying before on, past episodes, the NBA, the NFL, it's not that old. And they were doing this, you know, when they first started. That's what makes the cards so valuable now.
Mhm.
So it might seem a little funny, it might seem like they're not worth anything, but this is literally the same thing that they did. And look at the value for these cards now. But thinking about track and field within Canada, now that you've created the CTFL, are there any athletes that you specifically want to get involved with? Like you would love to have them in the league? Are you scoping anybody out for next season?
That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, next year I'm going to be putting the chance because I've so much positive response from like the Olympians, and I mean like it starts like as much as like the current athletes that we have, it starts with like at the top with the Olympians. Like in order to grow the sport, like you need to attract people to come and watch it, and like nothing attracts people like the Olympians. So like if I could have, I'm going to try and have the championships when it's not like a world championships, which is what's happening right now, and that's why a lot of them can't attend because I didn't think that they would all join this year. But like if I can put it off like before or like after the worlds or after a major event kind of thing where they can come and actually compete, that would be massive. So like just even the current ones that I have right now, like Sarah Minton was out, like there was 5 of them in London. So there was Noelle Montcalm, 400-meter hurdler, Sarah Minton, shot putter, Crystal Manuel, 200-meter Canadian record holder, and Sarah Minton is also a record holder. And then we also had Itzikiri from Nigeria, and then Roxroy Cato from Jamaica. So like just like those 5 right there, like coming out to like a championship, that's going to attract like double the amount of people that we would have had like otherwise, right? So yeah, I think that'll be like the next big thing. Not necessarily any big names. I mean, if Andre DeGrasse wants to come out, by all means, he can he can be a CTFL athlete and stuff. But we have a really good group of people already. And I know a couple other guys like Gavin Smelly, or like really anybody like Jerome Blake or anything like that. Like if they're in town, Justin Knight would be a really cool one. I'm talking to him a lot more, but yeah, like those would be really good athletes to have out, regardless.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I see your plan for the future of the CTFL. Would you say you want to focus more on athlete development, kind of helping these athletes get into more meets, get better, run faster, jump further, or is it more on creating like big competitions that athletes would love to go to, like the championship meets, big track meets, where the environment is so hyped that people are breaking records, because you already have record holders within the CTFL, so what would you say the focus of the CTFL is?
The second one, I don't think I can, as like the CTFL, I don't think I can like help with like too much with like obviously what I'm doing is hopefully helping because like they can now spend more time on it. But like my point is like I don't think I can really kind of help them develop as like athletes themselves. What I can do is I can produce quality meets that are bringing some of the best athletes from the country together to compete. And then like my grandfather actually asked me, he's like, so why would an athlete want it? Like he doesn't understand. He's like, why would anybody want to be part of your league? And I'm like well, so far like a lot of people have, but like besides the point, I'm like because like when you go and you race against fast guys or fast girls or good competition basically in general, you're gonna produce better times or like better marks kind of thing. And like that's just like I'm like do you understand? I was like I told him, I was like, why do you think that so many like records are set at the Olympics or like a world championship, right? They're not set at, Canadian nationals kind of thing. No, they're setting them for like, it's one, it's like timing, obviously for like training and stuff. And then two, it's because like the guys are there, like the people that you're competing against are there and they're going to push you. So I think that's what the objective is for like the athlete side. Now, also, I'm hopefully going to be able to like give these athletes more money and like opportunities to get sponsors themselves. And that should also help them with like freeing up more time. Instead of working and have two jobs, you only need to work like your one day job. I mean, like you don't need to, like, if you're trying to put a roof over your head and you're working like two part-time jobs, well, maybe you can now work like one part-time job and kind of train a little bit more. So, just by doing that, even like helps them out tremendously. And like that should help. I think that's one thing that like we're missing in general for track is like providing the compensation for like the non-elite kind of athletes. Because, for myself, like I have to go to school and I have to go work and then I have to go train. So it's like three things on top of one another. Now, if I could get paid a little bit in track, I wouldn't need to go work. And that means I can like continue to train in track. That means like I'm going to be producing better quality like meets. I'm going to like performances at meets. So like that's another big thing for me and stuff to provide the athletes.
No, that's huge. I completely understand what you're saying. I mean, that is what's missing from track and field, but I think that would kind of lead to athletic development,
Mm-hmm.
Being able to go to these meets and compete at a high level. It makes me run fast, and that basically raises the standards for not just myself, but then within the sport of track and field in general. Yeah, so I completely understand what you're saying. Last question. For yourself, what are you most excited about for the CTFL, for the future, going into these last meets of the CTFL? What are you most excited about?
I think like I kind of touched on it. Hopefully we're adding a bunch of new people next year to it. So this year was a struggle to find people who wanted to partake in the CTFL because like it was starting up, right? Like you didn't know about it. It was really hard. Like I have a couple of Olympians that are telling me like damn, like if I knew about it, I would have freaking joined. But I was like too late to the party. Like they were watching the draft and they were like, damn, what is this? And then they're like, I should have been a part of this. Like, why didn't this kid reach out to me? And it's because like I didn't think the Olympians were gonna be joining, you know what I mean? Like, so I didn't reach out to them. And also they didn't follow me at that point either, right? So like my messages went into requests. So like, I knew contacting them. So like next year we're gonna come back with like one, like just more high caliber athletes. We're gonna have like hopefully like a bunch of Olympians, not just the one who's like competing as a core athlete. Hopefully we'll have like 5 or 6 that are competing as core athletes. So like drawing in that media attention. And then like the kind of like second big thing is like there's some athletes that are kind of dropping out right now because of like injury or just because like they just don't want to do it, which is one, a really big pain in the ass for me. And like not okay, I get the injuries kind of thing. That's like inevitable. I should have planned better for it. Like I have reserves, but I don't have like a lot of reserves, especially for some of the events. Like for the women's long jump, right now there's only 2 that are like actively competing. So I have to like kind of find alternates for the 2 missing teams I don't have. So it's like it's kind of unfortunate, but like next year I really hope I have the opportunity, and like it really comes down to like sponsors as well. I really hope I have the opportunity to kind of do it again next year and do it better because I now know what all the kinks are. Like next year I will have at least 12 athletes per event, and then only the top 8 make the finals. So that means that like if an athlete decides to drop out, then it's like cool, now you're down to 11 athletes, 3 don't make it, 8 make it. So it's like it's okay. Whereas like this year it's like, okay, somebody dropped out of the 8, there's 8 lanes, so now there's gonna be an empty lane, and that's not fun to watch. Right? Like it's not as entertaining as it would have been. So that's just something that like I need to work on for next year and stuff, and like working at the kinks next year. Also, we're doing like the meter by meter series, so that'll be something that like you're going to be engaged now. Like I'm going to be releasing this after the season is done, so the kind of like the Formula One kind of model where like I'm going to have a big break from from now until like March when things kind of start setting up, but we're going to hopefully release the series in like October, or like probably like, honestly like September, I'm assuming. Kind of gets you like engaged again, and like then you can go back and watch the videos in full, and you can like, oh yeah, like this is what he's talking about in this, like in the TV show. So like those kind of things, and then you're gonna be engaged. You're gonna be like, you're watching that guy next year. Like you're gonna be watching Joshua Adhamar, who had a really like blowout season right now. Like he's ran two PBs in his CTFL races, right? So like one after the other, literally 1 week apart. So like dude's flying. So like you're gonna be watching Joshua Adhamar in like the meter by meter series. Now you're gonna know more about him, and then you're gonna be like more kind of attracted to watching the actual like meets themselves. So like those are like the big things that I think what I'm looking for next year, and then hopefully upping the video quality. So sorry guys in advance for, you know, I mean, I mean they're okay, but like they can be better. So that's the next big thing for me next year, is getting like better kind of video equipment and people helping me. Yeah, like there's gonna be a commercial, like the commercial that is released. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the commercial that was released was dope, amazing. Yeah. Obviously, you're getting a lot of views on that. Yeah, it's if you're able to, or if you're interested in creating more of that, I can see, how people would be more appealed to it. And then the storyline, that's the main factor for the NBA. Mm-hmm. We get a lot of NBA content off the court. This player did this player's not practicing. Like people know Allen Iverson didn't practice. What does that have to do? You know what I'm saying? What does that have to do with like the game? You know, and he even said that, but like we don't know who's not going to practice in college and the pros and stuff like that. We don't have any storyline within track and field. I think the only storyline we've had so far is Sha'Carri Richardson, what's going on with her. And that's kind of what's helping her build her brand, build her name, whether you love her or hate her, whatever it is. It's bringing a lot of attention, we don't have any storyline. So for you to be able to you literally generated a storyline, creating a league with these athletes, and you'll be able to help them tell their stories, tell the story of what's going on within the track and field world in Canada, so it's actually pretty dope. Dope.
I think one big thing as well is like, if anybody is really good at creating content and you're looking for something to do, you can like, I will give you like access to like all the CTFL athletes and stuff. It's kind of like a little shout out, because like we need somebody like a Stephen A for the CTFL. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're interested in that kind of stuff, reach out to the CTFL, because like I have absolutely no problem. If you want to be like the Stephen A and you want to have like interviews every single day with like an elite level athlete, then like by all means, like go right ahead, because like that's something that we're missing. I can't do it by myself because I'm running. But like if somebody did that, you know what I mean, and just had like lives with the CTFL athletes, that would go so far, because then like people would actually want to go and talk about it and see it. Actually, smart. That might be a good thing.
Here we go. We got a call for any content creators out there that love track and field, that want to connect with track and field athletes, coaches, and help tell the story. Tell track and field athlete story, the CTFL story. Get at him. DM him. Do we want to drop the email? Because I think it would be dope to actually build. That you've been talking about, you need help and you want to build a team. So it would be dope to actually have somebody that was a fan that first season, that loves the sport, and now they're able to help out. I think that would be dope. Should we drop? Do you want to give them your email? How do they contact you?
Yeah, obviously you can contact me. Just contact me through the CTFL official Instagram. Just DM me, and then I'm fastest there. So yeah, that would be really cool. And also, Samar, I was thinking maybe you could have somebody on your podcast, on like your like live or something like that too. That'd be pretty sick too.
Yeah, I would love to. I would love to connect with athletes. I'm interested to hear their experience within the new league. Conversations they had within their team with other athletes on other teams. Because I remember when I was in youth or high school or college, you have some rivals, but some of those rivals are friends too. Like, I can't wait to race you at this meet. Like you talking trash, but it's friendly, So you've introduced other athletes too, So I want to hear their story. How do they feel being on a team? You know, they got new rivals, people that they're excited to race, stuff like that. I would love to hear that. Would love to connect with them, you know, and hear their stories. So yeah, let's set that up. Let's run that for real.
Cool.
But yeah, I appreciate you sitting down with me again. And we'll have another chance to talk after that third track meet.